What is going on there, kings and queens and everybody between? It's your boy QYZ, and this time we've upped the quality because let me dispose a secret of the world to each and every one of you. The 6,000 bitrate cap is a lie. That's right. When you're not even an affiliate, you could be a pro bono, never get a dono streamer, and you can stream up to 8,000 bitrate, and they are not capping you. I haven't tested higher than 8K. I'm at 7,800 bitrate. Streaming at 900p, 60 frames per second. We'll try 1080 tomorrow. We'll see. We're going to keep upping the quality, ladies and gentlemen. But it's 2021, man. You can't be having them 720p streams. And that right there, if you heard that, was the bullshit hotline saying that I am not lying to you. They are actually confirming what I'm saying to you. But that being said, it's with a heavy heart that I have to announce that I was cheated, lied to, and robbed because I ordered that metallic display, the one I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago about Yu Yu Hakusho, Grand Theft Auto 5, and like it has all the characters. It's like a really good loading screen, really good art, right? So I get a message saying that my package is on the way. I'm ready. I feel it in my loins. The juices are flowing. I am all ecstatic, hype, and ready to go. And then they send me this, bro. It's big, by the way, but they sent me this, bro. What am I supposed to do with this? Like, does this look like Yusuke Urameshi Kuwabara? No. Do you see when did he get the Rinnegan? Like, when did that happen? I missed that arc. Didn't see it. Didn't happen. Must be filler. Must be a fan fiction. But that's what I got. And don't get me wrong, I talked to the proper channels, and they have rest assured that they said I can keep this one for the free ski. And they're going to make sure that what I ordered gets to me through the proper channels within the next week. So, shout outs Display. You did good by your boy. But let me tell you, when I first opened this, my heart dropped because I didn't want to spend money on something and then get hoed like this and then also have to worry about shipping it back. And that's a nightmare, man. It's COVID out here. I just want things to go my way in 2022. We're off to a new year. But other than that false start, everything's been all good in my neck of the woods and in my neighborhood. But more importantly, let's talk about the homie. Because we got one of the greatest podcasters of all time over here. We got one of the greatest people to ever bless what we call a microphone. Subtle Fraudulence, how you doing, man?
Yo, I'm doing okay. I'd be doing a lot better if you guys, I don't know, would like subscribe to the YouTube channel and I don't know, subscribe to the Twitch channel. Come through, hang out. Watch some videos. I've got a very, very instructional video on the things that you need to avoid right now, and one of them has become relevant this week. It's insane. It's almost like I have a gift that every time I post something, it's going to become relevant in the zeitgeist immediately after, so that everyone can say, "Damn, maybe I should have watched that video to like really have some insight so that I could have some water cooler talk about this." But whatever, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you have that stuff because you don't have water cooler talk anymore because you know what? 2022 is starting and people are getting sick. So because people are getting sick, we're just like, maybe we should rethink this whole theory that's going on. I mean, I heard that the Moderna CEO was like, maybe we need a fourth vaccine, and I'm like, come on, y'all. What do you mean? What are you saying?
I mean, a lot of times it just feels like this is all guessing. And I don't get me wrong, I understand that science evolves and it adapts and there's trials.
It sure does.
It feels like behind the scenes people are really screwing the pooch on this whole thing. But if there's a chance to make more money, they're gonna do it. Yeah. If there's a chance that they can squeeze even 1 more cent out of the consumer base, i.e. the population of Earth, they're going to do it.
They're going to do it.
And they're not going to make any sort of qualms about doing it either. It's just as easy as breathing to them.
Hey, man, capitalism reigns supreme. The almighty dollar is the true ruler these days. But anyways, let's get away from that doom and gloom, right? Let's get on to good things. Like, hey, yeah, I don't know, I've been playing Final Fantasy 10 again, and that's been pretty nice. I've also been playing Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Both games got on PC at the same time. I decided to play them again, or at least play X again, and finish remake because I know what happens in remake, but I need to finish the game on my end so I can delete it and actually play other games. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll play Cyberpunk 2077. You know, but,
Hey man, you just want to be held prisoner by a game. That's all that is.
hey man, you know what? You know what's really strange? I kind of miss the game. Like, I guess it's mostly because of the soundtrack, but like, I kind of miss the game, even though it was really jank and it was really weird. And there were times where it was like, this game does not work the way it was supposed to work. I enjoyed it for the most part, and the story beats are pretty nice. You know, the ending is pretty amazing. Like when you get the the optimal ending, when you get to that scene, when you know you're at the gates, and you'll see it if you ever play the game. But like,
So you're saying you get a great payoff?
you get a decent payoff. All the endings of the game are awful for the main character, but you get a decent payoff. And the only ending that I like myself have not seen is the ending that's apparently like the best possible outcome because it's like the most fun for your character and the most fun for everyone else. But I didn't want to go that way. I went the route of actually finishing the actual story from the Cyberpunk series, you know, from the actual tabletop game, getting the original characters and having them actually go through and have their clarity at the end of the end of it all, you know. But yeah,
I'm glad to hear it.
Cyberpunk 2077.
I'm glad that you've actually got, you know, at least the backlog games that you're actually going to play, because I'm not shaming anybody out there, but you know who you are, Mr. and Mrs. I got a backlog of 62 games knowing damn well I'm not going to see 61 of them by the time 2024 hits. Yeah, I'm shaming you, kinda. It's nothing personal, but you know who you are and you know what it's all about. But this isn't about making fun of people for their misfortunes or the fact that they may not have the time to get through their backlog. This is about Clout.WAV. And let's be honest, guys, the first topic makes me sick. The second topic also makes me sick. It's a lot of topics that are going to make you sick today, folks. So there's your little bit of a warning. There's your little bit of a, if you're easily triggered or if you're not really good with sensitive topics, now is the time to skedaddle, because it's only, well, it only gets rougher from here. Because somehow, some way, somebody woke up this morning and decided, you know what would be a great idea if we invested into an Etika NFT. You heard that right. Joy-Con Boys NFTs. A guy that committed suicide had clearly been off of their rocker, has had to deal with their own subset of demons, and someone says, it's time to bring out the cash. And don't get me wrong, I know what some of you are thinking. Well, this has got to be like some weird type of like weird, maybe insensitive way to raise funds for the family and donate for charity. No, it's none of that. It has no connection or affiliation with the family at all. It's just a group of people who decided, well, Etika's a name that pops up in the zeitgeist every now and then, and suicide prevention is a huge thing, and, you know, people still talk about him, so let's make him an NFT and make money off of it. Now, that being said, I know what you're thinking next. Well, yeah, that's fucked up, but like, while that's terrible and awful, and those people should probably be punched in the fucking throat and kicked down some fucking stairs, there's no way it gets any worse, right? Well, my dear viewer, you know, when we talk about topics like this and you ask the question, there's no way it gets any worse, right? It's always worse. Because see, in the aforementioned NFT, one of them has a bridge on it. Those of you who know the details on how Etika passed away and took his own life, it involved a bridge. And we know that things can be done in bad taste. But this is like the ground zero of bad taste. And don't get me wrong, there are other people who are making names and NFTs based off dead people. Look, even Marvel themselves couldn't help but make a Stan Lee NFT and use Stan Lee's Twitter account to push the NFT. And who could forget the fact that this is breaking news. This happened actually, I see this as we are recording the podcast. There's now a Bruce Lee NFT. And you know,
Wait. First, they put him in Naraka Blade Point with that horrible trailer that doesn't even like tell you that it's for this video game, and now they make him into an NFT. Leave Bruce Lee alone. Come on, guys. Come on.
And like, I know some of y'all are going to be saying, but NFTs are great because you get to have ownership over digital media. And it's like, it's not how it works. Okay. If, for example, since we have one, let's just say this was an original work of art. Let's say there was an original painting. You see how I have this? Yeah, I can touch this. I can point to it. I have a physical piece of merchandise. We could talk about it. We could look at it. We could talk about the craftsmanship. We could talk about, oh, what's that? Oh, that's the nice metal sound. That's really good right there. It looks good on the wall. We could talk about all the other posters that were behind me. I mean, they still are, but I don't feel like moving my camera to showcase them. But, I have physical things that you can go back there and touch. I own those. I got those. They rock with me. If you have a Picasso, so to speak, we have a replica Picasso in our house. Obviously it's a reprint. It's not the original, but it's a physical item that we can hold. And while, yes, we can acknowledge and distinguish the fact that this is a reprint that was resold years, decades after the painter had already bitten the dust from this world, and the original is out there somewhere, I can still say that I have one and I can look at it physically. You could take a picture of it, put it on your phone, put it on social media, but it's not the same. Or even if you scanned it and you have the digital lines of the art itself on your phone, being able to look at it on your phone is not the same as being able to have it mounted on your wall, have it being a conversation piece. When you walk into someone's room, you get to be like, oh yeah, this is from Naruto, or this is from Dragon Ball. That's from Mortal Kombat. That's from Metroid. Isn't that super sick? Oh, that's awesome. And you could have a conversation about that. When it comes to NFTs, them being digital, while I do understand that ownership is not transferable unless you sell it and buy it for a high price point, I get that. But the reason why it's not the same is because while I may not own it, I can still use it for whatever purposes that I have. How do I know this? If you've ever been on Twitter, you ever seen memes? You ever seen the subsequent post underneath good memes that are the dude with a chainsaw or with a handsaw going, zippity zeem, I'm stealing your meme? Or any of its infinite plethora of equivalents of skadoo skadeen, I'm stealing your meme. You've all seen these. These are not things that I'm making up just off the top of the dome. You can take anything that is digital and use them for whatever purposes that you may have. Because let's face it, folks, this isn't modern art. These are not crazy pieces. The NFT thing that you have there for Etika, if we could put it on screen at some point, go Google it. I'm telling you right now, it honestly looks like the default player icon with the black skin for the Guilty Gear Strive lobby system. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That little profile picture thing for you, for your little art code? Yeah.
Hey man, that's an art style. What are you talking about? It's pixel art, obviously. No, I'm not defending this. This is bullshit. The Etika NFT, there's a version that has a bridge in the back, which is like that's the most tasteless thing that you could possibly do for this, which is also taking advantage of the death of a content creator that has been beloved for years, who unfortunately did not win his battle with his demons. What are you talking about? Now is not the time. Probably never is the time, honestly. But why in the world would you do this and then say, yeah, I made this Etika NFT or whatever? It clearly is not something that's
that is the NFT, by the way.
It's clearly not something that's hey, yeah, let's celebrate Etika right now or whatever like that. It was not even pushed and promoted as something to celebrate Etika. It was pushed as something of hey, look at my NFT. Why don't you buy it? And it's I don't know. It's tacky, It's just tacky.
It's a cheesy, disrespectful cash grab. And let's be honest, NFTs if they've proven nothing else, it's all the people who've ever told you that your big idea when you were a child and your dreams were just garbage, crap, nonsense, not worth pursuing, and just were absolutely not worth even entertaining that you could achieve them. Let's be honest. The only reason why they said that is because they couldn't see the vision of how you can monetize it. Because if you can monetize it, you can have it. And if you can get people to buy, let's be honest here, non-unique digital art, most of which, if you've seen those monkey NFTs, if those are anything to go by, most
Oh
of which
my
are
God.
built on a recolor template. I don't think you guys want to relive the recolor era. Green Sonic, orange Shadow, purple Tails. That is what you're dealing with here. This is where we're going with this.
It's the equivalent of like taking a rug and then saying, well, did you actually know that this rug here is actually worth 5K? Oh my God. Like the material and I don't know, its place of origin and the people who made it, it's 5K. That's the value. And then someone can be like, really? Oh, that's pretty expensive. Must be very fancy. I guess I'll have to get it right now. And then and you just have tons and tons of people who give you something that's like, bro, that's not
Well,
worth
here's the
5K.
thing.
What are you talking about? And then
Even
people just buy it anyway.
even that is more acceptable because that's a physical item. I could put that in my house. I can use that as decor.
It's more like the conversation where people are like, yeah, so I bought this game on the PlayStation Store, which means I have it. My copy of Control is my copy and I own it. That's what I paid the money for. It's like, guess again, buddy. If it leaves the store, you don't have it anymore. So all the person who like has this NFT has to do is say, sorry, man, I can't, have this anymore. I can't host this anymore. You don't really own it, so it's gone. It's like, okay, but what about what happened with my money? Am I getting my money back? Nah, man, you bought a token, but the token is useless now. So, GG's to you, sir.
In the blockchain, it will go.
In the blockchain, it will go. And NFTs have gotten so like out of hand that we've gotten to a point where Konami decided that for Castlevania's 35th anniversary, they're gonna sell NFTs for Castlevania instead of make a new Castlevania game.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. They've stepped up their game. They've moved on from pachinko machines because people can't go out to play pachinko machines because of the pandemic. So now they've slid the scale to NFTs. And let's be honest, NFT needs to stand for one of two things. And we need to agree as a community and as a society on which they should be. Number one.
Non-fungible token?
No, what it should stand for is no fucking thanks or nice fucking tits. Those are the only two things that we need to agree as a community that it could stand for.
Well, it's not going to be nice fucking tits because that's derogatory, sir. We can't, possibly allow derogatory terms to be common.
What are you talking about? We're on Twitch.
Yeah, you're right.
What are they going to do? Ban us? They clearly aren't banning the other people who are out here wilding, profiling, and not giving a single care in the world. But, there's plenty of people out there who are not caring about anything that they say and do on Twitch. Actually, that kind of leads into our next story because the Street Fighter Pro, Robinho, who has been removed subsequently from the Capcom Pro Tour website and by organizers after a video has surfaced on social media of the Brazilian telling a potentially hurtful story about his ex-girlfriend, whom he allegedly got drunk and compelled to have sex with 8 different men while under the influence of alcohol. And within his story that he regaled, of his own volition, by the way, like this wasn't like something someone coerced out of him. This wasn't something someone got the lasso, tied him up and said, now talk. Batman wasn't in the vicinity. But essentially, his own account was he had a girlfriend. She was being not necessarily faithful to him. A little bit of infidelity strikes. He finds out that some of the homies also smashed, which you got to then start to bring to your head. Maybe those homies aren't your homies if they're fucking your girl and they know it's your girl. That's something you would also have to unpack, but we're clearly not going to do that because accountability is not really a thing of when people want to do these things. But essentially, he's like, you know what we want to do? Cool. We're going to take this girl and I'm going to get revenge. And what he had said in his own words was, today she's going to get fucked up. She got herself all broken. I made a number on her. I did her good. Everyone got a turn. I don't know about you guys, but to brag about y'all did a number on her, everyone got a turn, and then following this relationship, he then says, well, I had to do it to her. We got her drunk, and then we had our way with her. Like, saying that out loud, do y'all not feel like dirty? Do y'all not like hearing that? Do y'all not feel like confused, perplexed? Like, this is something that this man thought was a good idea to be like, yeah, boys, we about to all agree. Thumbs up. Like, no. Because during the story, he was chuckling, he was kikiing, he was giggling, he was having a good old merry old time. He was getting subs while he was getting dubs while regaling the people with this tale. I don't know about y'all, but this shit is heinous. Now, the story does take a very unique turn because there's a part that many of y'all may not know about. He's actually had an interview post all this coming out. But we'll get to that after we hear Subtle Fraudulent's thoughts on the story thus far.
This is disgusting, but as a community, this is a blessing because now the man has outed himself. He literally got caught in 4K sitting here showing everyone the type of person that he is. If he was trying to impress somebody with this story, first off, who the fuck would be impressed by this horrible story of this horrible thing that you did when he was allegedly like 15? Like,
wait. It's worse than that. Because remember, I'm talking about up to this point, because that data hasn't come out yet. We're going to get to the second half about the age.
Yeah. Anyways, the point of the matter is that this is horrible. Like, everything that he said is not co-signed by the community. It's actually like hated by the community. Like, you'll have a harder time finding people who are gonna hear this story, understand what he is saying, and then actually say, "Oh, well, I don't see anything wrong with this." Bullshit. You know, the dude should be stripped of whatever title that he has for Capcom and his career right now. He should be banned. He should have his Twitch channel removed because he said this on Twitch. You can't sit here and tell the story of how you orchestrated a gang rape, an actual crime against somebody on Twitch, and then just keep your channel like because free speech is going to protect you. Nah, man, you're infringing. Look, you're being stupid. Point blank period. You're just being stupid, and you're sitting here saying that this is all like, it's all fun and games, it's all cool. I really showed her I'm a big man, I'm a strong man. You're a piece of shit. Like, that's it. You're a piece of shit, and you deserve to get some sort of reprimand for being a piece of shit and telling the story as if it was like the coolest thing you've ever done with your life or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter that he's in another country. It doesn't matter that he said this in a different language. So, like, this is all based on translations that we've got from other people and stuff like that. It doesn't fucking matter because the gist of the story is that he orchestrated the sexual assault of a woman that he allegedly cared about, all for a revenge plot because she like it was stupid. Like, it's just stupid.
Because the other thing he tried to do was validate. Well, she was a slut. She was a skank. She was a whore.
That doesn't
basically
matter.
Like she wanted this. Like, no, that's not how it works, pal. That's not how this works. But even when you peel back, go ahead.
If that is the case, then just leave her. You don't need to feel like slighted or whatever. Like she clearly didn't like you enough, and you're showing us now why she shouldn't have liked you that much in the first place. Anyways, by being a shitty fucking person. If that person is doing something that makes you feel slighted or offended in any kind of way, to that extent, to where you're feeling rage in that kind of way, to like orchestrate this heinous plan against her, just leave and go do something else with your life instead of like putting any time or any emotions into them, because it's not worth it, and it's a waste of everyone's time and everyone's like energy. But instead you hurt this person.
Mm-hmm.
And what?
Because there's another thing that you have to unpack about the story, because in his regaling of his tale, he said he found out the infidelity due to the simple fact that his homies and his cousins had videos of her getting trains ran on her, essentially, and other sexual positions and sexual acts being performed on her. And the reason why this takes a huge careening, just left turn off a cliff is because after all these details come out from his own volition of his own mouth, he hasn't, once the backlash hit him, he then came out and had an interview where he said this. The relationship that he was talking about occurred when he was 13 and she was 15. And while he did find out about her infidelity via a family member, Robinho categorically denies pushing for her to have sex with 8 men. It's a story, and these are his words. These are his words verbatim right here. It's a story that doesn't even exist. Something I said as a joke. Now they're accusing me of something that was said in jest. I'm sad because people are being mean, wanting to harm me with it, even banning me from Capcom Cup for Street Fighter V. And here's the thing. Y'all sharing videos of like sex acts being performed on 13 and 15-year-olds, like that's a whole other thing you might need to look into, because that's just fucking weird. That's strange. That is very bizarro world to me. But apparently that's what they had going on over there, according to him. And you say that this is something that you said in jest. Normally jokes have these things called punchlines and payoffs. This was you just saying, there was a girl who cheated on me, and boy, did I get her good. I got me and the homies, and we ran a train on her while she was drunk and incapacitated. Where's the joke? Where's the setup? Where's the punchline? Where is the comedic payoff? Where the comedic timing? Where was the way you worked this back into a long form narrative upon your strip? No, none of that happened, because it wasn't a joke. And if it was, I'm really going to need you to go to comedy clown school and just return your degree if you got one in the first place. Because that's F's. That's F's in the chat. That's F's on the report card. That's F's all around. And no, it's
many times, and I will say this again. Some of you are not fucking funny. That's just it. You're not going to magically be funny by like doing some edgy shit. You're not going to magically be funny by saying something that's going to shock people. Some of you are just not fucking funny. This guy, not funny. If he thinks this is a joke, that's an even worse problem that needs to be addressed in some sort of way. But this dude is garbage. That's all he's saying. He's like, literally, it's the episode of South Park when Stan is disillusioned by like the world, and he sees everyone just like literally talking shit. This guy is one of those people. He's like, just every time he says these kinds of words, shit is just flying out of his mouth. That's all I'm hearing. That's all I'm seeing now. Like he's.
But it's really trash. Weird. It's really weird that you would bring up a relationship that you had when you were 13 in this regard. Like,
a flex on who?
Like, who is this a flex on? For what purpose? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that in Brazil, their laws are a little bit different, and they don't do the things the same way that we do things up here in North American land. Because, you know, even Mexico, obviously, they have cultural differences between us, Canada above us, and, you know, everyone handles things differently. So I'm not sure if there's like a statute of limitations on this, because I'm not sure how old he is currently. So when he was 13, if he's like 18 now and it's been like 5 years, is it too late to do anything? You got to remember, the girl in question, who may not even be in contact with this person anymore, probably has no idea that any of this is even happening.
Probably.
And if she decided that she wasn't going to press charges then, what, almost 2,000 days later, there's no way that she's probably even thinking about pressing charges today. So I understand people are jumping to want to push for legal recourse and things of that nature, but I don't see how any sort of legalese is going to sneak its way in here to get him retroactively if there's no case being made against him formally in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to this sort of thing, like legalities and like trying to get him like thrown in jail for telling this story on Twitch is like it's not enough for a lot of areas. It's not enough for a lot of like legal systems. I think Brazil is one of those places where this is definitely not going to be enough. You basically have to like find video of this happening and give it to them and be like, see, and even then it might make things complicated, unfortunately. So people who are pushing for him to go to jail for all this, I feel it. You know, you should, but like I think that's mainly because they don't have the information of like when this happened, because I mean, even with me, when I first, heard about this, like it sounded like he was telling this story as if it was like somewhat recently, like this happened like maybe 1 or 2 years ago or something like that. But if this is
Because like I
like
said,
years and years ago,
it was only after the backlash where he came out with the details of, oh, I was 13 when it happened.
right? Which that could be a lie. He could be full of shit.
You're right.
Honestly, like, but even then, like, you would need a lot to get some kind of like legal or get some kind of like jail time or whatever for this. But I think he also lives in one of those areas where, like, I don't think there might be some like street justice that's going on here. There might be some vigilantism that could go on. So I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's one of those things that could happen. And yeah. Anyways, as far as that goes, this dude is trash. Like he's just trash. Like that's it. Like everything that he's like trying to say to cover his ass right now shows that he's trash. He's not he doesn't care about the person who's involved in this. He doesn't care that what he did was wrong. He just cares that he's getting some sort of like reprimand for this. He's getting some kind of punishment for this because the most that we can do right now is make sure that he's not a part of Capcom Cup. He's not a part of, Capcom events. And make sure that he doesn't have a Twitch channel anymore to like say shit like this again. But who knows what Twitch is going to do unless people report it.
And make sure he's no longer a sponsored player. And out of all those 4 things, 3 of them have already been taken care of. Whether his Twitch channel is still up, not sure, but all the other things that the community directly has a stake in, they've already checked the boxes. They've done all they can do. They've exhausted those resources. He's no longer on the Pro Tour. He's been basically banished to the Shadow Realm. And his sponsor dropped him. So all the things that were his public facing for Street Fighter V and his quote unquote talents within that small little finite space have already been taken away from him. The rug's already been pulled. So there is some accountability being taken as a I guess a form of community punishment. Now, legal justice remains to be seen, but we'll see when we get there, because we'll get there when we get there. But
yeah, that's one of those like knee-jerk reaction sort of things. Like this sort of thing came out today. And the thing about the way our society works now that we have social media is that everyone expects things to happen in like 2 seconds. They all have their own like knee-jerk reactions. I saw this video. He said this thing yesterday. So why is he not banned like right now when I'm seeing it today? It's like, these things do take time, especially the legal parts. But like even Twitch getting a hold of this and doing something about it has to take time because Twitch has to investigate this and make sure that the translations are correct, make sure that they've got the right channel, they got the right person, all that stuff to make sure that they're doing the right thing in the situation, which would be to like ban this dude. But like they've got to make sure that everything is correct, nothing is like weird about this situation, which luckily for this, it's open and shut. This, I mean, he snitched on himself, like the driest. But it doesn't, it's whatever. Like this dude is more than likely going to get all kinds of shit for this. And he's going to lose his channel. Like if he doesn't lose his channel, then Twitch is on some bullshit. If Twitch doesn't at least say, "Hey guys, we're doing something about it," whatever. Some people are like upset right now that Capcom has not like immediately come out and said we're banning this dude like immediately or whatever. Even though word is out that like he's lost his sponsorships, he's not going to be a part of Capcom Cup, all that stuff. People want Capcom to immediately put out a statement to say that they like don't support any of this stuff. But that takes time because they have to make sure they've got, everything organized correctly so that nothing comes out in a way that may give the wrong message to people who are having a knee-jerk reaction to this whole thing. It doesn't mean that Capcom supports this dude. It doesn't mean that Capcom supports these kinds of actions. It means that they're trying to make sure that everyone is informed accordingly, because at the end of the day, they're still a business and they still have to make sure that everything is done correctly and professionally. They can't just put out a fucking tweet that says, "Yeah, we banned that piece of shit. He's trash. He's terrible. We don't support the rapists out here." Like none of that. Like they can't do that because they're still a company that has to keep certain appearances. Even though, I would be fucking surprised if there were people a part of the company who actually were like, "Oh, I don't think he did anything wrong," or any bullshit like that. I don't think any of that is happening. I don't think that their lack of a immediate response means that they support this dude. But it's weird. Some people are like having this adverse reaction that the community supports these kinds of actions. It doesn't. Like the overall community does not. The Twitter community does not fucking count. The online community of dregs who are on like the Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, just saying all kinds of like stupid, like smelly shit that they're saying because they don't fucking go outside. That doesn't fucking count as the community or what the community as a whole feels or tries to do. When it comes to like the FGC as a whole, the FGC does not want people who are literally dangerous or people who are just shitty to be around at all. So the moment that people are made aware of this, the majority of the community is going to be like, "Hey, yeah, get his ass out of here. I don't want him here. He's trash." The people who are saying otherwise, where are you seeing them say this? Twitter, Reddit, Facebook. They're not saying it to your face. And that's the whole point. Those people probably don't even come to events in the first place. They're probably not like actually a part of the community. They probably play a game 2 days a year and then think that they can say whatever stupid shit, or they're doing it to get a rise out of people because they have nothing better to do with their lives and they're fucking bored. Those people do not represent the community as a whole. The community does not support fucking rapists and like shitty dudes who want to have like revenge porn or like revenge schemes against women and do all this horrible like incel bullshit to try and like flex and make it seem like it's like a joke that he did this horrible thing. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Because if you decide to take Twitter and other social media as the law and the actual community, then I'm gonna tell you right now, folks, if you think the FGC is out here promoting racism or sexism and rape as like the big holistic ideology of the community, then I'm gonna tell you this right now. You're going to have a tough time trying to explain this to any other gaming community because, trust me, when it comes to shooters, MOBAs, they are worse. They are worse by 10,000 kilometers. Like, as far as they are in a different dimension. They're in a whole different realm, a different spectrum, if you will, of the disrespect amongst those regards.
Yeah, this is not like a pissing contest between the communities, by the way. This is like still a thing of like, those people do not represent the ideals of the community as a whole. Those people are more so outliers. They're just just because you see a bunch of bums saying some dumb shit about women, about certain races, about certain acts, things like that. Just because you see some bums saying some wild shit that like people are not going to support as a whole doesn't mean that they count as the community. Because at the end of the day, this community involves people. And like even like the general society, we have like our shitty people who just want to be want to get some sort of attention for saying some wild shit, or they just don't have a fucking brain to even understand that the misogynist thing they're saying, the creepy things that they're doing, that all those things have an effect on other people in society. Like,
because I'll give you a good example. Like all this crazy stuff that we found out about Hollywood over the past 5 years alone. At that point, no one should be wanting to do movies at all by this logic of, it's the entire cinematic community. All of them. Yep, from top to bottom. Don't want to do it. Indie filmmakers, nope, you too. You're all in there. You're all weirdos. I'm done. We should all be boycotting movies at that point. Like, come on, guys. You know that when you guys make these tweets of saying that it's the FGC as a whole, it's like, up until the point you made this tweet, you were in the FGC. So you mean you? Do you count? Do your friends who are still in the community also count towards this collective we? Because you know that they don't. And you know that there's some of these people who only ever see the light of day on Twitter when incidents like this occur, so they can give their stupid ass opinion just to rile up some conversation and get some oh so precious analytics and interactions on Twitter by just saying some nonsense, because they know anytime they give a reasonable take, no one is going to give a flying fuck because they're a fucking nobody, a drone, a literal insect crawling on the insulation of your house. An insect, not even one that you ever see, just an insect that exists out there in the nether realm that you don't care about. It's probably been dead inside your walls for 600 years. It's probably a fucking fossil at this point. You don't even acknowledge it existed because you don't even know it exists. It has to do something to offend in order to draw attention to itself. And I refer to them as the amoeba boys on Twitter. Y'all know who they are. These are people who have never once decided to interact in any sort of communication to better the community. These are never people who actually want to even talk about bettering their own fucking game that they play.
Right.
Claim to play. You got to put an asterisk there because some of these people don't even play the game. They just want to be loud and say things. You got to ignore these people. Now,
like, look, there can't be progress if you're going to focus on all the like dregs, all the incels, all the like creepers, all the shitty people who are in this community when there's so many like good people who are a part of this community. I mean, for fuck's sake, Rick the Hado is now head of Evo, which is like a thing to focus on. You don't want to focus on that other guy who was head of Evo before. You focus on the good guy who can take this to astronomical levels, who can turn it into an amazing event that will like change the FGC as a whole. Like.
And if you let me just say this: if you guys know there's something shady going on and you feel like you don't want to talk about it, like, tell people who will, because trust me, there are plenty of people who are willing to break that story. There are people who are willing to do it for you, because there's a lot of people out there who you probably need to get out of there. And I'm sure there's people who are covering for him to this day, because as we all know about the aforementioned Evo thing, that there are plenty of players who knew that he had some of this stuff going on and didn't say anything, whether they didn't want to lose their spot or felt there might be some sort of repercussions for their actions of being truthful and honest. And it's like, yeah, you need to get rid of those people, and they need to be held accountable as well. But we should also celebrate the fact that when we get these people the fuck out of here and they're replaced with qualified people, we should also be able to bring that same energy and appreciate that and be like, yes, this is a good thing. Because some of you only show up when it's time to be negative Nancy. Y'all never want to show up when it's time to be positive Pauline. And that's a big problem in and of itself.
Exactly. Like, look, this dude's a piece of shit. Like, ultimately, a majority of the community is going to like agree that this guy is a piece of shit. He should not be like a part of the events. He should not be a part of the community. They should like keep him away from the community as much as possible. And after like a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month at best, we're not going to talk about this fucking dude because he doesn't fucking matter anymore. The moment you find out that he's the type of person to like do these kind of things, he doesn't fucking matter anymore. Get him out of here. Forget about him. He never existed. It doesn't matter. Like let's move on and focus on, the good things and like keep the community growing instead of like focusing on something that's going to stop newcomers from being a part of the community, because then they're going to see the people talking about this negative thing and think that this is more common than not, even though this is the type of thing that people are trying to prevent from being common in the community. Like you can't have newcomers sit here, hear the story of this dude, and then be like, oh my God, is that really how it is when you go to events and this and that? And it's like, no. We don't support that dude. We got that dude the fuck out of here. Like, the moment we found out what was going on, it was done for him. We don't even care to like talk about that dude anymore because he's trash. Moving on, Evo, Pokimane. She's owns Evo, and then new people are like, oh, hey, Pokimane is kind of nice, and then whatever.
and then you go from there. You plan accordingly. But the only two other things I wanted to say about it is, number one, I see a lot of y'all trying to be, statistical masterminds on Twitter, and I feel as though I need to remind you, a lot and most are not the same. They are not synonymous. What do I mean by that? If I were to get 1 million people, just 1 million random people, and then 60,000 of them just so happen to be racist, it is fair that you could say we have a lot of racists here. We do. A lot of racists. But 60,000 out of that much larger number, you could not say most of you are racist. That's not how it works. And I see a lot of people on Twitter talk about these anime profile pictures and say, we have, like, most of our community, just these no-name anime profile pictures. You're like, no. A lot of the people in the community, but it's nowhere near most.
Okay. So, like, if you have a new person who, like, says stuff like, oh, it's mostly these anime profile pictures or whatever, tell that person to go to an actual event. See how many of those anime profile picture people are at the actual event, hanging out at this event.
When it's time to pay your dues and support the scene and actually, be a part of a community at large. Because those people don't exist there. And if they do, they come alone.
I don't know about you, but my locals definitely don't have that kind of energy there. There's a lot of camaraderie at our locals. There's not all these like gremlins who are in there like, man, they play in that game, or like, oh wow, that girl's here, she's probably here with her boyfriend. Like none of that nonsense going on. It's, hey man, what's going on? You want to get some games?
Look,
simple as that.
When we've done our UGL thing, we've ran events since like 2016. So it's been like almost 6 years at this point. And we've ran stuff on the West. We've ran stuff all up and down the East Coast, whether it's Otakon, MomoCon, Anime Next, whether it's WasabiCon, Anime USA, Anime Next. There's been several others, Dragon Con. You guys know the deal because you already know the spiel. We didn't run anything at Anime Weekend Atlanta, but, we go there every year just, for the camaraderie with the homies, the con to enjoy. And
2 dudes in a laptop.
Not 2 dudes in a laptop. And out of all the years that we've been going to these events for whether it's video game tournaments, etc., I have only seen on 2 occasions where we've had Captain Weirdo. 2. Out of the 30 events we've been to, I've seen 2. And both of these people were dealt with swiftly and escorted out of the premises. 2. Out of what? Let's just say on average about 150 to 300 entrants per event. So out of what? Maybe, I don't know, for the sake of the argument, let's just throw out a dumb number, like 15,000 people. We've seen 2 bad eggs. And you're going to tell me that it's the vast majority of the community? No, you're smoking something, buddy. You're not being very truthful with your data analysis there, pal. I'll tell you that right now. That's number 1. And the second thing that I think that we need to come to terms with is when we talk about, I hate using this word, but we talk about discourse online when it comes to communities and various parts of the scene, whether it's fighting games, the anime scene, whatever scene you may want to necessarily cling or belong to or identify with. You guys need to understand that you're talking about people at the end of the day. And you got to understand, even when you talk about everyday people, you have your weirdos, you have your decrepits, you have your sociopaths, and you have your loud, ignorant people who are only going to spread misinformation. Do I need to remind you about the thing about vaccines over the past, 2 years? Do I need to talk about the misinformation on both sides where people are telling you, oh, if you get it, you get 5G cell service. And people are believing it. And not only believing it, bringing it to town hall meetings.
There's a reason that online tournaments are making a comeback.
Do I need to remind you that there is a video out there of a woman coming to City Hall saying that she had received magnetic powers from her vaccination? So she took out a metal key and stuck it to her sweaty, dehydrated, non-washed skin, and it stuck there for a couple of seconds. And she said, see, Magnetism's like, no, ma'am, you're fucking dirty. You don't shower. You ain't seen a bath this week, probably not even this month, and we're looking at the calendar and it's the 23rd. That's not magnetism. That's dirt. The only vitamins and minerals that are sticking around here are the ones you've collected from the earth on your skin. That's it. Not magnetism. But these are the people who you see loud, and you wouldn't say, oh, well, this is what the average human being thinks. No, that would be stupid. That would be incorrect. And you know that that's not even in good faith that you're making that take. So next time, when you see these things, you'll notice that the vast majority of the people are usually on the side of, no, this is pretty fucking stupid. Nah, man, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And don't get me wrong, like we said, there will be some people who support the dumb shit, but they're usually just there to try to trigger people, get them upset, and, you know, get shit post interactions. That's all they're doing. And once we start being able to have the power to ignore these fucking idiots, the less inclined they will be to continue with that behavior. But I digress.
It's the parlor thing, man. The one thing that those people complained about was that they were all just stuck in a fucking corner by themselves to mingle with themselves. They're like, where are all the other people? This is fucking boring. It's like, yeah, stay over there. Like,
it's like you lost social privileges at this point.
Yeah, stay over there.
But alas, speaking of people speaking out of turn, have you heard about the Fresh and Fit podcast nonsense? I'm going to actually let you take point on this one, guys, because this was news to me.
Man, it's time. The general populace is starting to see what this trio, this duo is now. Like Fresh and Fit podcast had Asian Doll as a guest. Now the story of how she got on the podcast is that Fresh, aka Walter, I don't remember his last name. He was out at a club or something. He saw her there with her manager, had a talk with her, said, hey, you guys come over to our podcast, whatever. He was making clout moves. He was trying to add some clout to the podcast. And he's like, well, Asian Doll is someone that a lot of people know, get her to the podcast, right? So she showed up like an hour late, apparently. So when she finally did show up, she was there. They were having some kind of they were doing some kind of skit for their podcast to basically put some kind of impart some kind of knowledge on women of oh, it's not easy for men to go after women or whatever, so we're going to reverse the roles, whatever. So there was a situation where in between their roles, or in between their moves on what to do in the podcast, Asian Doll was having a conversation with another woman who was there. They were having a side conversation while the other guys were talking. And Fit, Mr. Myron Gaines, snapped at her and said, hey, stop that side conversations one person at a time. Please don't have conversation while we're talking. And he said to the woman that Asian Doll was talking to, oh, this is the 5th time we told you, you got to stop that. Now, usually when they say shit oh, this is the 5th time or whatever, they're getting ready to kick a woman out because they're known for that. They've got World Star clips and all that kind of shit of them kicking women out of the apartment mid-podcast because the women are being disrespectful towards them, whatever, for various reasons. Asian Doll says he's being mean. Man lost his fucking mind and was like, I'm not mean, blah, blah, blah. I got rules. We have rules here. And then started popping off on her about all kinds of shit. So, Asian Doll, barked back, was like, I'm not going to take this, whatever. So they go back and forth and she's like, this is stupid. I think, I'm just going to leave this. You're over here getting, heated at me when I'm just saying oh, you're being mean. And her manager was like, oh, you don't got to do that or whatever. But eventually she got up and left anyways. Mm-hmm. So after all that happened, clip goes viral. I think DJ Academics reacted to it, making it go more viral because he's got his head ass crew of people who love this kind of drama. I think they got posted on World Star and stuff like that. Shade Room. Asian Doll posted a clip of Fresh and Fit doing one of their like solo podcast things they do where they just talk about whatever, and they have a live chat, and they let their live chat like give donations to make certain comments, and they were responding to a comment where a dude said, "Oh, have you guys ever used black.com, the dating site?" And then they went on this like rant about how they don't date black women, and say, "Oh, you know, I don't date Shaniquas and Takeshas and all this other like wild ass shit."
And they were saying that like it's like if you want a ratchet girl who's loud and disrespectful and all, you know, all the stereotypes that you could hear, and it was just I don't know, it was wild. And they tried. Oh, go ahead.
There's another clip from a different episode of like one of the their after hours things with the Instagram models or whatever, where Walter randomly is like, "I don't date black women because usually they're like very loud, they're ratchet, you know, disruptive, disrespectful." He says all this wild shit, and then he says to a black woman, "But you're not like them. You're one of the good ones." He said, "You're one of the good ones, man." Like, and he's like, "So, you know, so that's a compliment, you know, whatever, right?" And then everyone in the room like applauded this woman for not being a fucking stereotype. So that went around of like, you know, that's like a solidifying what these dudes say about, you know, black women and
I mean,
whatnot.
it's worse than that, because they even went as far as like right after they told her that, he said, "Yeah, but we don't really dabble in the brown," you know. He's like, yeah. He said, "Yeah, we're not night riders." Like that is some shit that I would expect from like a 1940s white man. I'm not one of them goddamn dark riders. Like what?
Yeah.
Like hello?
They use the term night riders a lot on the podcast. It's mad weird. But there's also there's a recent episode. Actually the episode that they decided to go over the controversy and like try to respond to these claims that they're racist. There was a black woman on the podcast who asked the simple question, okay, because they tried to use the it's just a preference defense, but they you know, said, "Oh, it's a, you know, it's a preference or whatever." She's like, "Okay, cool, you have a preference, so why do you prefer not to date black women? Like why do you have that preference?" And they were basically like, "Oh, we don't have to answer that." It's like, what are you talking about? You're trying to clear up why you don't like black women
No, but
as a whole.
here's the thing. Well, let me play devil's advocate for this one small subsect of a point. Here we go. You ready? You guys ready? It's one thing to have a preference. It's one thing. And if you don't want to disclose why you have that preference, that too is also fine. But when you have a preference for something, right? Like let's just say I like white milk. You know what I don't do? That chocolate milk's fucking disgusting. Let me fuck it. You drink chocolate milk, you're gonna get rabies. You drink that chocolate milk, you're gonna have diarrhea. You're gonna have the runs, because chocolate milk is for inferior people. That's different. It's one thing if you said, "Oh, I just like white. I like almond milk." "Oh, why you like almond milk?" "Oh, it just tastes better." "Oh, that's it?" "Yeah, you know, it just tastes better." Now, granted, you could obviously talk about nutrition, and that's different. But when we're talking about human beings, it's like, "Oh, why do you like going to this store?" "Oh, you know, I just feel like this store, it's a little bit more friendly." Not, "Oh, you go to that store? Oh, you must be poor." Like, that's different. Like, if you like one thing more, that's fine. But when you have to talk down, tear down, and deteriorate something else, and then base it off of something as weak as a stereotype, like, what if those white women you love so much, or those Asian women that you claim to love so much, said, "Oh, I don't date black guys because, you know, the stereotypes. Ratchet, probably gonna beat me, probably gonna sexually assault me with their friends. Hell, might even shoot me if I'm not careful and don't mind my tongue." Like, what if they used that and projected that on you? You wouldn't like that very much.
Exactly.
But here you are.
Ultimately, the thing is that like having like a racial preference like assumes that you think almost, if not all, people who are a part of that race have these negative qualities that you despise. And the way that they talk about black women is like the most stereotypical like bullshit when it comes to people who just shit on black women for like existing, basically. And for me, this is 2022, man. Let's protect black women from these fucking cornballs, because this is nonsense. Like they make it sound like every black woman is like ratchet, garbage, whatever, right? But that's not the case. It's just not the case, and they make it sound like that's the case.
Because
And then when they're pressured
they had
about
a
it,
mom, right? They had a grandma, right?
that's the problem also. They're like, oh, well, I have a mom, I have a sister, and they're black, so I clearly don't hate black women. Is like, that's a shitty defense. That's the I have a white that's I have a black friend, defense. I have an Asian friend defense. That doesn't mean that you don't have like that kind of hate. Like, racism is not just about like I'm gonna join the Klan and roll up on somebody or whatever. Racism can also be a lot more subtle, and it can be a lot more like non-violent and just straight up using your words to shit on people and make it seem like it's normal. That's not the case.
We see it in media all the time. If there's someone who is a certain color and they do a little bit of the oopsie in sports, all of a sudden it's portrayed in a very particular light.
Yeah.
But if it's someone who's of a different skin color, notice some of these sports analysts like to go a little bit harder. Stephen A. Smith might be one of those brothers, but
sexual racism is like a problem that like is hard to even like talk about, because when you give someone the concept of like, hey, have you ever thought about why you have this preference against black women? Have you ever thought about why you have this preference against Asian men, or this preference for Asian women, stuff like that. I think this study was done like 2-3 years ago, but there was like a study done on like Tinder and Bumble, I believe, and like the groups that were swiped right on the least were black women and Asian men, and it was all because of like stereotypes tied to both of those groups. I mean, you all know the stereotypes at this point, but like that kind of shit usually breeds ignorance. And like their fan base, like Fresh and Fit's fan base, is filled with a lot of like ignorant ass dudes who like worship them. Like they worship them. It's weird. Like they worship these dudes and think that everything that these dudes say is like fact, is law, is how to get these women. But they're like literally in a room with like women who, if you read their body language, some of them don't really care that much for these guys. They just care for the clout. And those guys got exposed for taking advantage of that, by the way. So
they also got exposed for taking advantage of content creators. I don't know if you heard about that, but did we talk about that on the podcast?
No, but I talked about that in my video that you should all watch. I think maybe we mentioned it a little bit. Maybe like a little bit. We mentioned that they were using copyright strikes to go after people as well. But
and they've been taking down channels of any size. And we're talking about things that are transformative works. We're talking about people who are showing like a 2-second clip to illustrate their point about why you should watch or should not watch whatever type of content they're doing, or someone that's just making a informational video about some of the misconceptions that people have in the dating scene, using their podcast as maybe a talking point, a little bit of water cooler footage in order to illustrate their point, or to just show a direct quote to show what some people may think. And they've been going after those channels as well. And for some rhyme or reason, they think that just because they can flex that muscle, that they will. And there's been other bigger YouTubers now who have been coming to the forefront on behalf of the smaller YouTubers, saying that, no, we're going to fight this battle for you. We got the time.
Right.
So there might be a legal battle that ensues. And funnily enough, if they get caught false claiming enough and it ever goes to court, YouTube, in and of their own policies, will have to take that channel from them and remove them from the platform. So it's a big lose-lose for them.
Yep. Yeah, like it's ridiculous. I mean, it has spawned an interesting joke from Aber and Preach's channel where because I think the two guys went on like Tim Pool's podcast and said something about like they basically some comparison to like a broom and a dustpan, and so Aber and Preach now have jokes about like brooms and dustpans. I think I think ABBA made like a review on the apartment complex that they do the podcast in, and said like, "Oh, the room and dustpan that you guys sold here was trash. 1 star." You know, like we've gotten good things out of it, like because these dudes are clowns, and it's just entertaining as fuck to see the clownery. Sometimes they have guests that make it entertaining, but like if you take the shit that they say seriously, it's not good. Like it's not good at all because it's honestly insane. And like the more that things like this happen, the more the general populace is seeing this and going like, "Who the fuck? What is? Why would you say this?" Because what is it? They had like a TikTok video that went viral at one point where I think Myron was saying that like if a woman cancels on you or whatever, you should punish her. And I'm like, like she's not a dog, bro. Like, what do you, like ideals like that are not really helping you. And all these like dudes that are their fans are usually like these corny ass dudes who don't know how to even have a regular conversation with women most of the time, or they don't know that maybe they should take a shower every once in a while. Are you seeing the overlap here, by the way, of like those guys and some of the other communities that we talk about? Like the FGC. How they tend to have these jokes of like they're these shoebies, right? They don't take showers, they stink, and then they show up to the events, and then they don't even understand they smell bad and blah blah. It's like, yeah, it's pretty easy to manipulate those guys into thinking that if they do certain things, that they're gonna get all the Instagram models and everybody's gonna love them and all this shit, while also having their chest out with their like racial preferences towards black women, about how they don't like black women, or they don't like this group or that group. And it's just like it's not good. These dudes are probably not going to lose subs over it, maybe not like a lot of subs over it, not until this becomes like so viral that you just have like weeks and weeks of people just like shitting on them, being like, look at these clowns. If you actually believe stuff like this, whatever. But who knows if we're ever going to get to that point, because they're just going to have another YouTube stream where they have a bunch of other random Instagram models show up, Instagram models, only fangirls, like whatever, show up, and then they're just going to talk about the same thing they talk about every single time and have everyone just kind of forget about the other controversies. So,
Look, I know some things are a little bit weird, and things can be a little let's just go with strange, right? But you got to remember, we live in a world now where there are alpha male conventions, which to me sounds like an oxymoron, because if you're an alpha male, how does 7 of y'all working together work? Y'all all can't be the team lead. And if you're a guest at the alpha male convention, are you really an alpha? Because you're just a guest. You're just another face here. And I know if you're an alpha male, I know you're not paying to go listen to other alpha males tell you how to live your life. Like, it just seems like a whole can of what are y'all doing here? And yes, these things exist, by the way. You can literally look them up.
it's kind of wild. It's like going to BronyCon, man.
Because remember, there's also an event called the 22 Convention. You may be saying, what the fuck is that? This is their tagline. All tickets, bring a friend, free for a limited time. Scroll down for speakers in the event. This event is for biological females. Men can also attend the event, and the tagline is "Make Women Great Again." People pay for these things now.
Oh, that's insane.
Would you like to know how much a ticket costs?
If it's anything higher than $50, I'm gonna be like you're wasting your money, and you fools.
Oh, you about to be sick? There. You about to be sick to your fucking stomach,
bro? 500? No.
Anyway, so let me say this real quick. The other tagline they have is "Make Women Virgins Again."
Ew.
Yeah. So hold on, it gets worse.
Wait, pause. Real quick to harp on that. Why would you want that? Because that means that she has no experience, which means you're probably not going to have the best experience, ever, or whatever, right? Like, a girl who doesn't know what to do with a dick is not going to give you the best top you've ever had in your entire life or anything like that. So why the fuck? Like that's some creepy shit. That's one of those things where it's like you should be on the list.
Okay, so the tickets range anywhere from $1,200 to $2,500. If you're a VIP, it's gonna run you $3,000. And if you want a lifetime pass to all future 21 events for lifetime VIP ticket, it is on sale right now, actually, for 15 grand.
That's a sale?
Well, normally it's a quarter of $100,000. Normally it's 25 grand.
It's just gonna be a bunch of these dudes who got fucking swindled, all being in a room, be like, "Hey man, I'm an alpha. Hey bro, I'm an alpha too. Hey, where's your girl at? Where's your girl at, man? I don't got a girl. I'm not trying to get settled down like that."
Now hold on. We need to talk about who runs this. If you go to the bottom of the website, you can see that there's an Instagram page. They may be saying, "Okay, what's on this Instagram page?" It takes you to a man named Beach Muscle 65. Known as Anthony Dream Johnson, the first president of, and this is what they call it, the Manosphere and Mansplainer in Chief, founder of 21 and 22 conventions, the Red Man Group, blah, 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 over 375,000 YouTube subscribers. Restoring masculinity back to the world. Join the Manosphere today.
I don't like that it's like touted like that. I know the whole thing of like what was the last sentence in that weird title?
Make
The
women's virgins
mansplainer
again?
thing?
Oh, the
No,
Manosphere?
the mansplainer thing. I know that's supposed to be like a joke because they're like, "Ugh, feminism is the reason why you're single." But that shit is, even that's corny. Like, do you really want to be associated with the dude who like goes out of his way to say the word feminist like 5 times a sentence? You know, like
I mean, that's where we're at. Like, it's at a point now where the comedy imitates life.
honestly, you're right. You know, I saw Don't Look Up over the weekend, and
You think that is a movie? You think that would be a movie that didn't need to be made? But some people watch that movie and still don't get the message behind it. And that's where we're at as a society, man. We failed. Y'all all talk about people fumbling the bag. No one has fumbled the bag worse than the people who live on this planet as a collective.
What can we do, right? Like, you know, how do we stop it, right? Look, those guys are still going to be these like weird, shy whatevers. And these guys are just going to make it worse for everyone else because I don't know about you, but almost, if not all, women that you meet have at least one story about some piece of shit dude who basically recited the mantra of these guys, recited the mantra of Neil Gaiman's The Game, and thought that they were doing a service to this woman, and they were doing, you know, justice, and that this woman was in the palm of their hand, and she was like, yeah, I don't know, that guy was like really creepy, and I don't know, he thought that he could just like walk into my house or something, you know, that kind of shit. And this is not making that any better. This is making it way worse because, you know, you're gonna have more dudes acting like this, and it's just not gonna go well. Like,
Hey,
just
man.
don't like. And so these guys usually, like, the grift is that they offer money to these lonely dudes to be like, oh, if you buy my course, it'll teach you how to like talk to women and blah 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 whatever. But they pay like hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, and it's the equivalent of that Channel 5 video where they you know, were with the dude with the mohawk, and he's like, it's make out time. I've made out with over 5,000 women. It's just like I don't believe it. That dude looks like he smells bad, you know?
Facts. And they just gonna let them out here cooking, bro.
Yeah.
Out here throwing
Because
for content.
those guys have like they've now hit 500K subs. They're like, and they're still growing. I think. That's that's the only thing they're gonna care about. They're still making shit tons of money because they stream like every day, basically. And every stream they do, they get hundreds of thousands of dollars from all these like donations from these dudes who just want to say some shit like, yeah, these women don't understand that a real man is an alpha and he understands what a woman wants and blah blah blah, and they don't understand that they want a man to dominate them and that kind of bullshit.
They really be saying stuff like, women don't know how to control their lives. That's why we're here to bring the order. And it's like, what? You trying to say that she don't know how to live unless you're present? That's weird. That's suspicious. I think we just lost our co-host. I think he just exploded. My man is staring at the ether. Oh, he's dead, Jim. Oh, man. Technical difficulties. You hate to see it. But yeah, like it's really weird when you see these people go all out of their way to try to project their misconceptions of an entire group of people, whether it's based on their race, sex, creed, religion, whatever, and then try to legitimately tell you with a straight face that all those people are exactly that way to a T, no deviations, no exceptions. And it really just tries to put people into a box in which you control the narrative. And when you control the narrative of a group of people that you don't even take the time to interact with, get to know, how can you ever truly say that you even know what the hell you're even talking about? But these people never really come to that decision-making process. They just let it rock. They just hi-ho silver. It's all good in the hood. But I don't think the homie is coming back. I think his internet got smoked. Oh, nope, he's moving again.
Yeah. Tell your fucking ISPs to stop throttling you and taking your hard-earned fucking money and doing this dumb shit like this where randomly you just lose connection all of a sudden. Because what? Because oh shit, we flipped the switch to turn off your internet for a second there, buddy. I pay you a shit ton of money a month for you to give me this. Garbage. Tell them all to get better. Tell Spectrum especially to stop fucking around with me, man.
And you sound like you are personally perturbed. Like you got some beef you want to settle. Like you.
This happens at least 4 times a day. At least 4 times a day.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to put Spectrum on a t-shirt, huh?
On a t-shirt? Yeah, I'm gonna be like, fuck these guys. Like,
send them to the realm. Send them to the sunken place. That's what you want to do. But on that note,
wild? Discord is not even showing me the actual call and everything right now. The only reason I know that everything is going well is because I can hear you speaking to me and confirming that you can see me right now because I can't. I said, did you know? Hide muted channels in a server by right-clicking the server name. Connection problems? Let us know. Tweet us. Server status.
Oh man, yeah, you getting smoked right here. But luckily it was at the end of the podcast, not in the middle, not at the beginning. Hopefully these technical difficulties don't continue bothering you as the seasons go on, because 2022 is supposed to be our year, man. We can't be having you getting absolutely just beaten behind the bleachers because Spectrum just decides it's not your time. But with all that being said, thank you guys for coming out for another episode of the Clout.WAV podcast. And I hope that you stick around for next week because I'm sure it'll be a good one. And let's face it, folks, if his internet cuts out, we know exactly who to blame. Make sure you act Spectrum on all forms of social media and tell him, fix his stuff, chant it, scream it to the heavens, biggest font size you can make. Do it in a way that makes sure they have to take action. But until then, guys, y'all be safe. And if my co-host would like to add anything, go for it.
The internet was a mistake. Also, they want me to pay $100+ to get gigabit internet when I don't even get a good experience with less than that. Come on now. You're not going to treat me well. You don't deserve that money. Anyways, the internet was a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. ISPs are pretty fucking evil right now.
Oh no, they've always been evil. This is not a right now thing.
You're right.
That's an eternity ago. Y'all got to remember, man, it was in like 2014 and 15 where my upload speed was still sub 20. My download speed was sub 35.
And what did they tell you? It's going to be 100 up, 100 down, right, buddy? Like,
yeah. And you know what? You know what's worse? The year before that, because I still remember this, my first years of university, my upload speed was 1.97 kbps. That's all I had. That's why I didn't stream all those days, and why my streams were so low quality. You may be saying, well, how did you upload those videos? So I used to not be able to turn my computer off. For me to upload a video, I had to have that thing upload overnight. Like I would render a video and then I would start the uploading process at like 9 p.m. while doing a bunch of other stuff around the house, you know, mom medicine, blah, blah, homework, blah, blah, blah. And then by the time I woke up 6 a.m., getting ready to go, you know, drive up to the college, my video would be done. So then like before I go to school, I would type the title, the video description, and make sure all that stuff is there, make sure the thumbnail's there, then click save changes, and then I'd be out the door. That was my process for a while. Or option B, I would go to Cardis's house and use his internet to upload my videos. Shout outs to Cardis. Really helping your brother out. But yeah, y'all take care, and we will see you guys next time.